Hello guys, welcome to Passages 1, Unit 2A, Mistakes and Mysteries. In this unit, we are going to talk about past modals and phrasal modals of obligation. And also, we will see some verbs related to problems. Let's begin. Past modals and phrasal modals of obligation. Should have, was supposed to, or were supposed to, had to, and needed to are used to describe obligations in the past. For example, I had to wear a uniform when I was in high school. Alexandria needed to ask for permission to go out. In the first example, when I was in high school, I had to wear a uniform. I was forced to wear a uniform. And in the present, I am not in high school anymore, so I don't need to wear a uniform. That's why this is a past obligation, and we use had to express that. In the second example, Alexandria needed to ask for permission to go out. When she was a teenager, she needed to tell her parents if she wanted to go out. She needed to ask for permission. So this is a past necessity. It was necessary to ask for permission in the past. Nowadays, she's a woman and she doesn't need to ask her parents for permission. But in the past, she needed to. It was necessary. Use should have plus past participle to describe something that was a good idea, but you did not do it. For this, you need a subject plus should have plus past participle plus a complement. For example, Zach should have paid more attention in class. We should have purchased the airplane tickets 4 months ago. I shouldn't have used my father's car without permission. In the first example, we are saying that it was a good idea to pay attention in class. But Zach didn't pay attention, and because of that, he failed the exam or he didn't pass the exam. In the second example, we say that it was a good idea to buy the tickets 4 months ago. But we didn't do it, and because of that, now the tickets are very expensive. And in the last example, we're saying that I was not supposed to use my father's car without permission. It was not a good idea, but I did, and because of that, I had an accident, and now my father is mad. The verb purchased that you see in the second example is similar to the verb buy. Use was supposed to or were supposed to plus a verb to describe something that was expected but you did not do it. For this, you need a subject plus was supposed to or were supposed to plus a verb plus a complement. For example, I was supposed to cook for my family, but I was on the phone the whole day. Alex was supposed to buy Julia a present for her birthday, but he forgot. They were supposed to close the door before going out last night. Was supposed to or were supposed to are used to express what is expected from you, or what people normally do in situations like this. So in this case, this is something that my family was expecting from me because this is something that I normally do for them. I normally cook for them. This is in the first example. So I normally cook for them. So this is something they were expecting from me. But in this occasion, I didn't do it because I was on the phone the whole time or the whole day. In the second example, when it's your birthday, normally your boyfriend or girlfriend or friends or family, they usually buy presents for you. But in this case, Alex, the boyfriend, didn't buy a present for her. And in the last example, when people go out, they normally close the door. But in this case, the children forgot to close the door. And because of that, we can see in the picture that a criminal got into the house. So normally when we use was supposed to or were supposed to is to express or indicate that people were expecting something from us, or to say what people normally do in a situation. Use had to plus a verb to describe something that you were forced to do. For this, you need a subject plus had to plus a verb plus a complement. For example, Jane had to do her homework if she wanted to play with her toys. I had to take my medicine whenever I went to the pediatrician. Alejandro and Genesis had to go to school every single day. In this case, we're using had to express a past obligation, or to say that in the past we were forced to do something that we didn't like. In the first example, Jane didn't like homework, but she was forced to do her homework if she wanted to play. In the second example, I didn't like my medicine, but I was forced to take my medicine when I went to the pediatrician. And in the last example, Alejandro and Genesis didn't like school, but they were forced to go to school every single day. It was a past obligation. Use didn't have to plus a verb to describe something that was not an obligation or something that was optional. For this, you need a subject plus didn't have to plus a verb plus a complement. For example, my children didn't have to clean the rooms because we had a maid. They didn't have to pay any money to eat at work. She didn't have to drive when she was living in your city. In these sentences, we are using didn't have to express that something was not an obligation or to say that something was optional. If we wanted to do it, we could, but if we didn't want to do it, we didn't have to because it was optional. It was our decision. In the first example, it says, my children didn't have to clean. So they didn't have to clean because we had a maid. We had a person to clean for us. If they wanted to clean, they could, but it was not mandatory. It was not an obligation because we had a person to do that for us. In the second example, we didn't have to pay at work because the food was given to us for free. In the last example, when she was living in your city, it was not necessary to drive because she had the subway, she had buses, and she also had taxis. So it was not mandatory to drive. It was not an obligation to drive. It was optional. If she wanted to drive, she could, but if she wanted to take the subway or a taxi, she also could have done that. Use needed to plus a verb to describe something that was necessary. For this, you need a subject plus needed to plus a verb plus a complement. For example, I needed to help my mother in the house when she was pregnant. They needed to learn English before moving to the United States. Rachel needed to find a place because she was going to get married. We are using needed to in the past to indicate that something was necessary or that something was a necessity in the past. In the first example, because my mother was pregnant, she needed my help. In the second example, because they were going to move to the United States, it was important for them to learn English, so it was necessary. It was a necessity for them to learn English. And in the last example, because Rachel was going to get married, she needed a place to celebrate the wedding, and that's why it was necessary. Now, we are going to see some verbs related to problems. Aggravate a problem. To make a problem worse or more serious. Avoid a problem. To take measures to ensure that a potential problem doesn't happen. Cause a problem. To provoke an issue or be the reason why a problem happens. Deal with a problem. To try to solve or manage a problem. Identify a problem. To recognize and understand an issue, determining its nature, causes, and implications. Ignore a problem. To act like a problem doesn't exist and not pay attention to it. Run into a problem. To experience or encounter a difficulty or complication that was not anticipated. Solve a problem. To find a solution or fix a problem so that it no longer exists. Well, guys, that was everything for today. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.